Hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to Free Woman on the Land TV. My name is Lana, Free Woman on the Land. Today is April 12th, 2013, and this is episode number 1 of Free Woman on the Land TV. I wanted to give a quick shout out to all the free men and women who've come before me, who have used YouTube as a medium of communication, as a means of keeping us all aware of what's actually happening within the Corporation of America. I am another medium. It is my goal to inquire into what is actually legal. We have reached a time in our lives as Americans that seems very scary, that seems very, it makes us feel as though we are very boxed in without choices, without option. But I'm here to say that that is an illusion. It is simply not true. And the only way to break through that matrix illusion is to ask what is legal. I discovered on my journey into this question that the law is actually very rounded, very accurate, very fair. It doesn't feel that way to the average citizen for the simple reason that they're only giving us the penalties. For example, the Highway Patrol, they get a book of penalties and they are told to enforce said penalties. That is their job. They are, in a very broad sense of the word, they are revenue generators. Their job is to take that book of penalties and make it applicable to whomever they see. But the problem is, again, with them only having the penalties, they don't know the law. They have never read the book that they were sworn to uphold, which is the vehicle code. I am in the state of California, and the California Vehicle Code is what the CHP, the Highway Patrol, have sworn to uphold. And I am here in a capacity as free woman asking them to uphold that code. You can't just pick and choose whichever you want it to be. It's either in the book or it's not in the book. So I want to show on a level exactly what the driver's license is. The first order of business is understanding that words and terms are completely different things. Words, W-O-R-D-S, are swords, S-W-O-R-D-S. But terms are legal definitions. Everything in the law books, the terms used have to be defined. And then those common definitions are what is used in court, in pleadings, and in the discussions. So a license, under its common uses, we just believe that, we get a license to drive our cars because that's pretty much what we're told to do. And we've been told that driving without a license is illegal. So again, it's not a word. We're not going to look at the word license. We are going to look at it as a term, as a legal definition. A license gives you permission to do something that would be otherwise illegal. So So as a term, we become bound to the agreement that the act of operating a motor vehicle without a license is indeed illegal. We come to that conclusion by agreement with the term license. So when we go down to the Department of Motor Vehicles, request an application, we are signing a contract. And you know for sure that it's a contract because the Department of Motor Vehicles requires a wet signature, meaning that this is not something that can be faxed in. It is a legal document. It is a legal agreement binding you and me to the terms of said contract. So I think that it's very important that those who carry around this driver's license need to know exactly what it is and what those terms are, because the common knowledge of what the words mean, of course, as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't fit. So a license is permission. We're asking permission to act. That means that we are relying on a higher authority to tell us whether or not it is okay to travel. If we look at our world today, we see that there are basically licenses for everything. The only thing that I don't believe so far there is a license for is breathing, but I think that that's what they're trying to do with the carbon tax, is generate revenue for every single solitary thing that we do. So unless we band together and understand what these legal definitions are and understand that they're practicing contract law against humanity, then life will continue to be more and more precarious, because every year with every generation there's only going to be more fines and more fees. This driver license reality actually hit home for me when I took my driver's license out, turned it over, read it, and then Googled motor vehicle, because the term is very specific. It doesn't say this is a license to operate a car, an automobile, a conveyance. It's very specific in its definition. And it tells you right there to whom it's applicable to. So if you have a license, take it out and read it and make an informed choice. That's what I'm advocating, an informed decision.
Because we're here today to assist in solving some problems. And one of the problems is the misconception of what a driver's license is and what it's used for. The fraud of a driver's license is not in your interest. When they gave you that driver's license, it was to incorporate you as a corporate person, was not.
I said, what privilege or benefit or immunity were you drawing that gave the IRS some kind of jurisdiction? And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. Then I said, you deserve to pay. And he said, all right, you explain it to me. And I said, you got a Social Security card in your pocket? And he said, yeah, everybody does. I don't. And he says, you don't? And I said, no. I'm not going to take any benefit, privilege, or opportunity from the government. And he says, you mean federal government? I said, no, the state government, or the federal government, or the county or the city government. He said, only if you do that, do they have jurisdiction? Only if you do that, do you give up your rights and accept and swap for privileges. And he says, yeah, right, I suppose you ain't got no driver's license either. And I said, wait a minute. As a matter of fact, I don't.
I went through the DMV code and I found things in there that, kind of rocked me. And one of those things that I found in the DMV code was that if you are not using, and in California, if you're California, the DMV code section is section 260, California Vehicle Code section 260, where it states in there in part that if you're not using your car or your private truck for commercial purposes, that you are actually exempt from having to have registration, licensing, and forced insurance.